Welcome to The Girl Herd,
where we talk Texas football.
And a bunch of takes you've probably already heard.
But not from us.
Hey Herdies, we are back. Angie, Michelle, and Devin after an amazing win against Arkansas this past weekend. We were all in Austin at DKR, had the best time, met new friends, saw a lot of old friends. What was y'all's favorite part about the weekend?
Being back in Austin. We've been talking about it for a while. We were happy to be back. But yeah, like meeting new people, like you said, was so much fun. The weather. Finally making it and getting it frozen. Oh, well.
Yeah.
It didn't rain.
There you go. It was really good weather. My favorite part was just the game, the fourth quarter song. I feel like that stuck out. I think especially because like by that time the sun was going down and it was like that golden hour time. And yeah, it was just great atmosphere and energy in DKR. And I tweeted that out on Sunday, and I feel like a lot of people resonated with that and felt the same. And they're like, we need a repeat of that this Friday. So just the energy of DKR.
A repeat plus the student sections being filled to the tippy top. We need you all to come back after having your Thanksgiving, yummy foods, and be freaking ready.
Yeah, I mean, in college, we would go on Thanksgiving night, so there is no excuse, you all.
But we did say that we also love going to the student section. So, I mean, if there's like a little bit at some point in the game that we can come hang out with you guys, we're okay with that too.
Yeah, shout out to the student section. We do like going down there closer to the end of the third, top of the fourth quarter, spreading out, dancing down there. It's a good time.
Standing up without, being told to sit down or blocking people's views behind us. We love it.
We were just all talking on Sunday about how much fun it was and how the vibe is. And it just makes it so much more exciting to go into this week, a holiday week, getting to enjoy some Thanksgiving and then ending it with a big rival game.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened on the field against Arkansas. First half, little bit shaky on the nervous system, right? We would score, they would score. We would score, they would score. And then it kind of shifted at halftime. What were some of the biggest takeaways for y'all?
Well, I think what stuck out most was like how much we didn't care that it was going back and forth. Like
I know,
when I say don't care, like you're mentioning nervous system, but for whatever reason, I was like never concerned. I don't know why. And I guess the second half was why, like how the game ended up going. But like we were just like, I don't know I honestly couldn't tell you what it was, but like we were going score for score and not stopping them. And I know that's been like a big conversation going into this week because the Aggies are undefeated and their offense is really good and their defense is much better than Arkansas. So yeah, I don't really know, but I think we were just happy that we were scoring. So I guess that's what was sticking out. Our offense was clicking and we've been needing that. So
yeah, I mean, there was a bit where we were like, we came back into the club, we were just hanging out, chilling, and someone was like, oh no, we just punted for the first time. And the way I was just like, oh, well, I don't love that for us, but like, and they've scored on every drive of theirs. But for some reason, like, it wasn't like huge concern. You were okay. We were just vibing and having fun. And you just, like whatever they talked about in that middle of the game, halftime, coming back afterwards, like that's the team I want to be firing on all cylinders coming out of the gate at the first. But I think, we talked about this, like Arkansas was one of the better offenses that we've played. So I'm really excited that we had that going into this next game as well.
Yeah, but also exciting that we didn't punt the ball until the second quarter, which
right.
We will take it. We will take it. Any win we can get.
I think one thing that we did talk about, or someone pointed it out, I don't remember who it was, but I think still we're not really realizing what we need from the rush game. And so early on in the game, that was one of the things that they were out rushing us at first. Yes. But from a pass perspective, it was just such a fun game to like watch Arch get comfortable, work with his offensive line and work through, the reads, progressions, and see some really beautiful throws. Like it was just a fun offense to watch on Saturday.
And can you imagine when we get those drops cleaned up, like the amount of yards in the air that our team has the ability to do is really going to be unreal. Talk about an NFL style offense. And then too, if we can get the running game and our offense line, they've done a really good job the past couple of weeks of figuring out how to protect Arch. If we can also figure out how to make holes and how to push the ball down the field from a running perspective, our team will be real dangerous.
Arch had a really big day, right? And of course, Arch is a big topic of convo, especially with us heading into another rivalry game. And people were talking about that. They're like, oh, you're like talking about Arch getting all these touchdowns. It was against Arkansas. But again, going into the Arkansas game, we talked about like offensively, they actually have more total yards per game than A&M, and they actually had more yards than A&M when they played A&M as well, and they scored a lot of points. So I don't want to hear about how we let them score 37 points. They've been scoring over 30 points on basically everybody they've been playing.
Well, and also like by the end of the game, we weren't playing all of our starters. And so people need to realize that too. Like, no, I didn't love that they scored right at the end of the game. Yes, we do care about what the score ends up being, and everyone is looking at that. However, I love that we gave other guys abilities to play because we're going to need to keep doing that as well. So, agreed.
Yeah, people keep forgetting about their schedule and how close of games that they've had against some really big teams. So,
well, that's what I keep saying. Like all the talk about like Kentucky, Mississippi. I'm like, have you guys seen all the other scores that everyone has had against them? No, like people are so quickly just seeing the final scores or final quarter or whatever it is,
One thing that I did not see during the course of the game, I'm not sure if that's when we had gone downstairs to the little Tito's area to meet friends or what we were doing at this point in time, but Ty Anthony got a targeting call. Did you guys see that when that happened?
Yes.
And what was y'all's thoughts on it? Because y'all know, like, we sent it in, well, Sark sent it in to the SEC, and they said, yeah, it's going to be targeting. And he's not playing in the first half of the game, which is a big deal.
Yeah, I think I was saying, like, we were listening on the car ride home, and I was like, I remember having, like being downstairs and going to the bathroom and hearing it over the speaker and being like, wait, who is out for the first half of the game next week? Like, we can't afford that. That's not great. And I rewatched it last night and saw it. And I mean, I think those hits are hard. I don't really think, obviously he was meaning to do it. Sark said he wasn't. Ditto what you just said. He sent it in, and unfortunately they declined it, and he will not be playing for the first half, which is so sad.
It's like the worst time for that to happen. And to your point, Michelle, on those calls, it's a timing thing, right? Like you're not trying. It's just so hard sometimes to like gauge it, and you're trying to play hard, which is what we want. On the other side of that coin, they are saying that Anthony Hill should be out there. So I'm really curious about what that will look like. I know at his position, linebacker, it'll just be interesting to see what comes into play or doesn't in terms of like the hand. I think he should be fine though. So we need him. I mean, I don't want to go into the game without him. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think
without both of them, no.
Yeah, I think those calls too are so subjective sometimes too. And the game is so fast, right? So it does make it a lot worse when you slow the tape down and this and that. But these are split second impacts and how they move. It's so hard to just stop on a dime when your body is moving in the way that it is. But so glad that hopefully Ant will be back. We need folks, because I think A&M is pretty healthy right now. Per Jaden, my nephew, has been blowing up my phone and thinks, I was like, who are you going to be supporting this week? Just curious. And he's like, I think I'm going to have to go with A&M, and just rattling things back and forth. So I really am hoping that we can pull up this upset. We're a 2.5 point underdog at home, which is not a huge point differential for an undefeated A&M team. What are y'all's thoughts?
Well, my telepathy says we're good. I feel really good about it. I don't have nerves, so I think that's a good thing. The one thing that does concern me the most is Concepcion. Watched him play a lot this year. The man is fast as heck. Like, I just don't know what's going on with our secondary, but whatever has gone on, I need for them to be on all cylinders on Friday. And I'm confident that I mean, they've put together some really good groups over the last couple of years. And so I'm confident in them and Akina. I know they're like, you know, in the film room getting it together, but that is one thing that is on my mind.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here talking a whole bunch of smack, you know, like anything can happen in rivalries. What I love is like anyone I've really talked to, like regardless, they're like, this is much like how we felt playing OU the past few years, how we felt playing A&M before. Like records don't matter at this point going into this game. And what I love is like, you know, being at DKR and that our offense seems like they're finally in their groove.
The funny thing is, I feel like they're actually more worried than we are.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the worry meter is on A&M. And if you think about last year's game, they were like the old 8-4 A&M that they always like had been in the end. But like they thought that they were gonna like be able to win at home, I think, and also spoil our thrills that were happening from our really good season, and it didn't work out. And it's almost like a reversal of the storylines this year, except I just wonder what they're thinking. They're probably thinking Atlanta. They're thinking, can we get this national championship that we haven't gotten since whatever pre-war year that people always joke, you know, online about. And so I do wonder, I think that the focus meter, we're going to win that battle because like, it's like this game for us. They have literally so much ahead, kind of regardless of the game. So I'm curious to see how that factors in.
Well, and I feel like, too, they probably saw our game last week and have to have some kind of thing of like, gosh, dang it. Now, Arch, and now this offense wants to take off. Of course they do. So that has to be a factor for them, right? Because who we were in the beginning of the year is not who this offense is today. And they're going to be ready. We're back at home. It's at night against a team who is undefeated. And like you said, we have so much to prove in this game. So much.
I mean, I think college football, I'm realizing how much PR and like hype is behind the sport. I should already like know that. We do a whole podcast, right? But what I'm saying is, if you look at Arch's stats, okay, everyone's talking about this. If you're looking at Arch's stats, remember it was like Arch is not good. We need to like, he's hype. He's a flop. He's this and that. Ha ha. Like it was a joke. His stats and Marcel Reed's stats, who, by the way, they're like, Marcel is amazing. Marcel's in the Heisman race.
Heisman.
And it's like, wait. So I wonder, like, next year and in the following years, if anyone's going to kind of change their tune, let the games play out, and truly, like, go off of facts, because I feel like this has been the weirdest and wildest season that's all based off perceptions and nothing else. And we're caught in the middle of it. Like our team's in the middle of it right now with this whole playoff thing too. And it's just like, obviously we love to be the drama. Texas, I think that's what's good for college football when Texas is the drama. But I think it sucks for Arch and it sucks for us too, because we're right in the middle of that perception battle this year.
I do also wonder, like, I've loved how he's handled all of it too. He's never deflected. He's always taken ownership, always wanted to do better. But like you said, like, it's crazy the different storylines. And yes, Marcel didn't have all of the struggles that Arch did and our team did in the beginning, but still the numbers say a very different story and how he's producing. And this team is producing towards the end of when you want it to be happening, right? Like, so should Arch be also in the conversation about Heisman, right? Like who else had a good of a weekend last weekend as he did?
I mean, that's what the difference of Marcel and Arch is that Marcel started games last year. Like it's a different, that's the difference. Like everybody owes Arch an apology. I'm sorry. Like that's how I feel about it. I just think it's really wild now that we're at the end. And Michelle's nodding her head because I know she's been the biggest like supporter of Arch the whole time.
Apology tour starts now.
Yeah. Like I wanted to like, all of these videos and stuff that's coming out and like comments out now, I want to just like drop our videos from early on and be like, what do you guys all say now? Like, oh, now we want to all be, because I think it obviously shaped Arch, and like what happened at the beginning of the season, I think is really helping where he's at now. And I'll be interested to see like where that takes, of course, Marcel in the future too, of what teams he's played and hasn't played and all those things as well. But yeah, like the stats, if you just look at them playing on paper of each of them, you're like, this is all very interesting. I echo Devin's, everyone owes Arch an apology.
Well, I think it's also interesting when we're now, right, we talk about strength of schedule, and there are 7 SEC teams under A&M to which they've not played. So when we really talk about strength of schedule, I feel like we were going tit for tat with people of this too. I'm like, well, we beat so-and-so, we beat so-and-so. I'm like, cool, we blew out Arkansas and you won by 3 points. Like, we can go back and forth with this conversation all day. So I really am interested to see, I'm like, how are they going to do on the road in DKR against another offense that now is hitting their stride? And we talked about this a little bit in the shorts, but hopefully DKR is a factor. We talk about all the time traveling to these SEC schools and the environments that they create. And our fans better come ready for this one.
Day after Thanksgiving, like it's not like last year where there were 2 days. It's the day after. We have the better defense. And I really think our defensive numbers have slipped last several games. And so we were a top 5 defense. I think we were like a top 3 defense at one point. We have to be that on Friday to win the game. So yeah, I'm hoping that that's the defense that shows up, because we're going to need them to get the stadium loud and all that. Sorry, Michelle, go.
No, I was just going to say, like, to that, like the sack rates and like how what we're all ranked, like it's A&M and us, like back to, it's funny. It's like OU, A&M, us. So all of these, like, that's what we have to do. We have to be able to get to Marcel Reed and like knock him off of his groove. I really do believe that's the main key here. Obviously I want our secondary to be where they need to be as well. But I mean, back to the points as well, like, and we've been talking about this, but everyone just keeps talking about our record. They're not talking about actually who we're playing, what's happening. They want to talk about, we lost to Florida and got, really close to a couple of teams, but they're not actually talking about like all of the actual details and anything else. And they just want to talk about how could be.
Yeah. And Bama lost to Florida State, but somehow everybody's okay with that. Like, this is what I'm not. This is what I'm not.
Yeah.
But I just thought of something. I really hope that our team watches the film of the Texans from this past Thursday.
Yes.
Because we sat there and that defense, I mean, y'all, Josh Allen is good and he could not do anything. But that's what they need to do on Friday to Marcel Reed. Not even give him a second to think. And DKR needs to be loud and then just do that over and over again until the game's over.
But we also talked about that interview with Coach Shepley and how we need dogs. Like, they need to activate every ounce of energy of dog mentality that they have within their bones for this game, because that's what we need to see. Like, I want you to be freaking mad. The Coach Akina defense that I remember when we were all in school was super aggressive. They were pressing, they were going after balls, trying to get picks, taking people's heads off. And that's what I want to see. Not this, like, I'm going to sit back and give this receiver so much cushion, because A&M's receiver group is good. They're very talented. So we're going to have to really be on our A game.
We're also one of the tops for interceptions. So like, all right, pause, just come on out. Let's get them all. But I also want, like, speaking of dogs, I want our stadium. Like, we're talking about DKR being a factor. Like, we were talking about it just this past weekend. We were on a third down. We were like, where's our stadium at? Like, come on. Or they were on a third down, like, I want them to be loud. And I mean, I do think they will be, especially for this game. And we've seen some big games in the past at DKR being loud, but like, we got to get into this as well. We can't put it all on them.
No, PSA, we need the same energy from OU. I need to freaking tweet that, because the energy at the Cotton Bowl, I know it wasn't a home game, but like, we stood on business. Like, it was, the OU sucks was so loud. It was crazy. I had never heard it that loud in my life. And so I need that to be repeated. But back to what you were mentioning about the whole dog mentality thing, I think we need to bring back honesty. Like, we talked about this after the Georgia game last week, and even before the Georgia game, just how we've been in the press as a team and as a coaching staff. And I think it's totally okay. And like to say, no, dude, they pushed us in the ground. Like they mashed us in and that sucked. And you know what? We're pissed off and we're going to go back to the drawing board and we're going to up our toughness. And maybe they are behind closed doors and they're not saying it to us, but I definitely think they're using that Georgia game. And I think we saw a little bit of that against Arkansas where they're like, no, like we don't want to be talked about this way. We need to show who Texas football really is. And I think that'll be in the back of their mind. This is going to be a big game with a lot of eyeballs, and you don't want the outcome to be Texas is soft, because that's what people were saying after the Georgia game.
Yeah, you don't constantly want the identity of your team to be in question. Like, that's something you got to squash and make a freaking statement. If we win this game, then what are the storylines? Then what are the headlines going to be? It's going to be a very different tune, I feel like, that people are singing. But it's funny, Devin, you mentioned the noise in the stadium. I rewatched some of the game, and it sounded so much louder over the broadcast than what it did when we were sitting there. So it made me think, I was like, is it because of where we are in the
I
north
totally
end
thought that.
zone?
I totally thought that today before we started filming everything. I was like, I think our seats, we can't hear things, because I see people on Twitter saying how loud stuff is sometimes. And I'm like, is it?
Yeah. It sounded
I just
real loud.
remember,
Even
though,
the
like,
announcers were like,
I mean,
oh, do you hear the noise? I was like, I didn't hear it, but I'm glad
But we
y'all
were
can.
sitting there for like the Bama game, and like I had chills and it was like hot. I remember of how loud our stadium was. So I don't know if there could be something to all of the above, but we got to bring it. That's all that matters for all of the narrative. We don't want people talking about our team. I think there's something to be said about not coming off of a bye week. We actually have a short week, so hopefully that works out for us as well. And they just like keep going from last weekend.
Yeah, and we're bringing the parents. They're undefeated when they go to games this year, so got our good luck charms with us on the holiday weekend.
Yeah, can't wait. This is going to be a big one. And I know we chatted with our friend Brandon, and he had some influences in the music in the fourth quarter for that game. And I hope they let him continue to do that, because the energy is going to have to be up, and not only for the fans, but for the players on the field. Like, they want to hear music that's gonna get them hyped and ready to play.
Yeah.
I saw several tweets of like even Peyton like tweeting CDC being like, good job, like the game, I loved this, whatever. And I was like, haha, we should send this to Brandon and be like, look, you did it.
Yes.
Well, I also had to chuckle because Amanda Atwell also posted about the music. She's like, they're playing Boosie and DKR, and our friend Dan from 740 retweeted her and was like, if you want to be like us, just say it. And I'm like, freaking Brandon, putting on Boosie, now you're trying to make it seem like we're trying to be like LSU, because that's where he came from. But it made me laugh. But I was happy
those roots.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, fight me down in that student section. I was feeling it. I was really happy. So keep it up.
All the vibes. Had the best time. I know we're going to have the best time this weekend too.
Yeah, we are so excited for this week. It is a night game, so we have all the time to frolic and play before the game. There's who is it? Who's singing before at LCL? Big and Rich. And yeah, let us know, like, comment, tell us where you're going to be tailgating. We would love to come and meet everybody.